Hello and welcome back to another episode of The Unstable Brew, where we will discuss all things not quite normal, brewing up in our lives, this world, and maybe even beyond. I'm Taylor.
And I'm Charity.
Let's get brewing.
Yay!
I'm trying to dress it up a little bit.
There you go.
A little bit.
I liked it. Sounded good.
A little something.
Add a little spice.
Just a little bit.
A little spice.
You're never going to know exactly how I'm going to come in with the intro.
Yeah.
I don't want consistency. However, our outro,
it's beautiful.
It's beautiful.
We got that down.
I love it so much. I have something else I need to add into our outro whenever we get to that point.
Oh?
Yeah. It was something I just thought about. We need to have more listener engagement. So I was going to throw in also comment, please.
Yes. We want to hear from our people. Let us know things.
Let us hear from the whole 10 of you.
The whole 10. Hey, we had 25 listeners this past week. 25 individual streamers.
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
I was excited. I was like, oh.
I love it.
Progress.
We got this. We've been doing it. Oh my gosh, hold on. I'm still reeling from the fact that we are recording.
This is our 12th episode. That's 3 whole months.
3 months.
3 months.
Of releasing an episode every single week. Of us getting together every single week and recording. And you working on the rundown. And Daniel having to scramble to post at some point on Friday.
I'm just so impressed at us. And I'm proud of us because we've done it.
I know.
We have been consistent for 3 months straight for 2 ADHD women. That's impressive.
That's very impressive considering I've given up on a lot of my hopes and dreams. But,
oh
this
my
could be
gosh. Oh my gosh.
Jokes on the if you haven't figured out how unhinged we are, come on. 3 months in, 12 episodes, let's go. We are
it's only gonna go downhill from here.
Shh, don't tell them that. That gives expectations.
That's true. It'll get better.
That's worse. That's more expectations. I don't know what you people want anymore. You get what you get.
Amen. So we are coming off of the holiday season.
I'm so tired.
We're both exhausted.
I'm still trying to bounce back.
In the period of 9 days, I had 8 different gatherings. 4 of which were in my home, 1 of which lasted 3 days, had 3 children, and people everywhere.
But
I'm
that
so
was
tired.
fun.
It was so much fun, and it was amazing. So all of our girlfriends came over to my house for New Year's Eve. We had the husbands there. We had children everywhere, and it was I legitimately had a moment where I was just standing back and I was watching everyone. I was watching the kids open their presents. I was watching the dads sitting at the table, having their conversations, getting closer. And I'm just this is it. This is the moment I was looking forward to when I was 12 years old, thinking about my future. And this is what I was hoping to see.
Yeah, I had that realization too.
It was amazing.
During our get together. It was I got to actually sit back for the first time and go, this is what I'm living the dream that I didn't even realize was the dream that I wanted until I had it. And I'm I'm happy.
Now, can you imagine middle school you seeing you in that moment? Because middle school you never expected you to have this.
No, middle school me really had outrageously big dreams and ambitions, and unfortunately had to deal with a household that encouraged none of those.
They were you need to stay depressed so that way you can stay here and I can have a thumb over you.
Yeah, and here I am.
But look at you now.
I have people that I was genuinely excited for our trip to FAR. The drive just sucked because it was really exciting because I really was this is going to be a time for us to really get to hang out with my brother-in-law, which we did. We got to hang out with him more times than we ever have in the 13 years that I've been with Matt.
Honestly, I've known you and Matt for 10 years, and out of that entire time, I have met Matt's brother one time.
Yeah, and it was at our
And
wedding.
I don't even know that I spoke to him. I often forget that he has a brother. So to hear more about him now, to hear the relationship that y'all are building and to hear about them bonding is really something that I'm super happy for y'all.
I know.
I'm super happy for Matt because it makes him feel like he really has a familial connection. And I'm so happy for y'all. That's such a great thing.
I feel like 2024 is going to be a very interesting year of growth and unexpected things, unexpected surprises is what I feel like 2024 is going to be.
I'm so excited for all of us.
I am too. We're going to be living this year in a very delusional state, so we'll see what happens.
We are living 2024 Delulu.
We've already...
with big dreams and big hopes.
My household's already off to a great start.
Yes!
Because pretty much the week of New Year's, my husband had a interview at the company that I work for, and then as of earlier this week, he got a phone call saying he has the job. So...
Woo!
He went from part-time to full-time. I came to the realization, I was talking to him earlier today, and I went, this is the first job. This is the first time in 13 years that we had the exact same working hours.
Oh my goodness.
We are both Monday through Friday, 8 to 5.
And y'all can ride together because you'll work at the same area. You'll be in the same town because I know like you're in two different buildings.
So yes, we're in two different buildings. That's like literally down the road. The carpooling thing, we will see. Because here's the thing. He's going into an hourly position. I'm salaried with a director and manager who like
you can peace out early.
Don't keep track of our hours. It's kind of, you show up when you show up. You can leave early if you want to leave early if you don't have a whole lot of work going on.
That is my kind of work schedule.
Like, and the thing is I don't abuse it.
See,
I don't abuse it at all.
My previous job had that kind of mindset. They were like, so long as you're here by 9 and you don't leave before 3 without letting your supervisor know, they're like, we don't care. So I would literally get there between 6 and 6:30 in the morning. So that way I could clock out between 3 and 3:30. I'd beat rush hour. I'd be home by 4. Like I could get home and I could chill and it would be great. If I could do that while working from home, like my whole lifestyle would be different.
Yeah. So it's going to be very interesting. It's going to be a little bit of a change. He starts his new job on the 15th. So that's where it's going to be changing. We both get paid weekly.
Oh, that's so nice.
He'll be starting off at the same pay rate he was when he left his job in TK, so that way we can move back here. I'm hoping that I can get a little bit more experience and a certificate, and then I can actually, instead of asking for a pay raise, I can ask for a market match, which that's a wild thing. Like, I never thought...
have the job
that
pays.
I never thought I would have that, but here I am, in my 30s. So going to FAR was really nice. It was very eye-opening for both me and my husband. I think we had a lot more growth conversations than we were expecting. Coming back, we got to have Christmas with my mother-in-law, Kelly, and that was really nice. I was at our house. We took a picture together in our pajamas.
You said that you were going to do that.
Yes.
I want to see that photo. It's super cute.
Yeah, it will never get posted on social media ever because she doesn't she doesn't have social media and she doesn't want her face and her pictures being blasted everywhere.
Makes sense.
So I actually, even if we have group photos with her, like those are the ones that I don't actually post on Facebook.
Oh my goodness, you're right. I'm just now thinking about it, and I have never seen her photo on Facebook.
The only photos of her that are on Facebook is from our wedding.
That makes so much sense. Mm-hmm. I've never noticed that before.
Yeah.
Wow.
I do that out of respect for her because she doesn't want to have anything to do with it. So I'm like, okay, then I'm not going to do it.
That's great.
So,
But I
those
mean,
pictures,
it sounds like your year is already off to an amazing start. Your New Year's resolutions are kicking in strong.
yeah, they're starting. We'll see how long
I'm so proud
it goes.
of you.
And then we had our get together, and I was really excited for it to get together. It was. I told Matt this. I was like, it's gonna be so nice to be able to hang out with our family and not have to pretend or hide any part of us.
Yes.
I think that's the nice part that I enjoy about our family that we've built, our tribe, our clan that we've built with each other is
you can get there and you can just be.
We don't have to pretend anything. If we show up and I just happen to have a low socializing battery, no one's going to push me on going, you need to socialize more.
Exactly.
They're going to be like, hey, are you okay? And I'd be like, I'm a little socialized out, but I'm here. And they're like, okay. You need
So we
anything?
just let you chill.
I'm like, no, I'm good. I decided to have some fun on New Year's. I didn't actually drink. I had fun in different ways. Because why not?
Did your little smoking.
I did do my little smoking. And Christina and Brandon partook in the smoking.
And I appreciate you not doing that in my house.
Well, yeah, I would never kill you.
I like breathing.
No, I like the fact that you were okay with me stepping outside and because we've had this conversation before. Early on in our relationship, you weren't a huge fan of it.
Yeah.
We've had a conversation.
We've had this long conversation. One day we'll do an episode over it, maybe.
Yes, I think that'd be really nice. But we've had a conversation and I will feel we've reached to a certain mutual respect of each other.
100%.
Of I don't feel judged because of the choices I make.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to blatantly do it in front of you because I know it's going to kill you and I like you too much. And I'm like, let's not kill my bestie.
Thank you.
Just say.
We 100%, like you said, we've come to a mutual understanding. We have mutual respect over it. That's the main thing. That's what's important. We both got to have fun on New Year's Eve. We got to spend time with our family. We both got to relax in our own personal ways.
I kicked ass in bingo.
Yes, she did. Okay, I'm still mad about this because you and your husband were winning everything.
We only won 3 times.
We only won 3 times. There were only 4 games, Taylor.
Was there?
There were only 4 games. So you won, then Matt won, then you won, then Desiree won, and that was it.
No, because Alexis won the first one.
That's right. So there were 5 games.
I won the second one. Matt won the third one. I won the fourth one because I was out for that Lego set. I wanted that Taj Mahal Lego set.
And then Desiree won the last one.
Christina's the one who won.
Did she?
Yeah, she's the one who won the gift cards.
Oh.
And then
Desiree stole the cookbook.
Desiree ended up winning the Snoop Dogg cookbook.
Yeah.
But Christina's the one who actually won the gift cards to main event.
Yeah.
In which Desiree said something along the lines of hurry up and win those so you can take me to main event.
How rude.
I mean, let's be real. The next time the time that those gift cards get used, it's going to be during another one of our girls get together because there's a main event down the road from where Desiree and Alexis
It's super
live.
true.
So let's be real.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure that gift card's probably $100 or something. I didn't even ask.
I'm kind of impressed. They had some good prizes.
Well, because we all pitched in $20 a person.
Yeah.
So
we need to do this more often. It was amazing.
It was a lot of fun.
The whole weekend was amazing.
It was
watching
a lot
the
of
kids,
fun.
watching the guys even bond. It was just great.
Yeah, it was a good holiday time, and now we have to get back to reality in the new year, 2024. Good luck to us.
Yeah, you see her face.
That's TikTok worthy content.
We're just yeah.
We just started. Considering at work I moved offices and then we're also in the middle of a big warehouse move to our new location.
All I've done this week are subpoenas. So many subpoenas. So many. I have to get documents. I have to get all of their check transactions. Every transaction that they have done for 3 years, I have to pull that. And then I have to download them individually into their own folders for 3 years.
Well, have fun with that.
For 3, you have so many subpoenas. Oh my gosh. It's only day 3 being back at work, and I'm so tired. Like, I love my job, and I love being back at work, actually, because it's a fun environment. But I'm so tired,
Yeah, it's a lot. In today's episode, we wanted to discuss our mental health and how it has affected our physical health. We often hear the statements, just be happier, just smile more, get out of the house more, etc. People who don't suffer from depression, anxiety, ADHD, CPTSD, PTSD, all of the acronyms above.
All the acronyms.
There's so many of them. Have no idea that it's not something that you can just push through.
Yeah, I mean, I always hear the saying, well, you can just wake up in the morning, and if you tell yourself today's going to be a good day, you just put yourself in that mindset. It doesn't matter what, if the very first thing that you think in the morning is today's going to be a good day, then no matter what, it'll at least make the day better. And like, yeah, there are studies that show that can be true.
Yeah, and it's changing your mindset.
Exactly. It's changing your mindset.
It does
and
help.
If you do it every single day consistently, it does over time actually help.
Mm-hmm.
However, that's for a neurotypical person. For people like us, which have a little bit of a spice to our brain, that's not always the case.
Also, childhood trauma.
Trauma.
Extreme traumas also, I feel, play a factor in trying to work
100%.
through this, because that's not even an us thinking it. It's a literal natural response your body is experiencing that you can't control.
Exactly. So like with us, our brains are naturally predisposed to see the worst in the day.
Yep.
They are naturally thinking about all the things that can go wrong, about all the things that could happen, and you get stressed a lot easier. You're more likely to be depressed. So while yes, you can wake up and you can tell yourself that today's going to be a good day, sometimes that just doesn't happen because the depression takes hold or the anxiety takes hold. And then because everybody's just telling you, well, you should just put yourself in a better mindset. You just need to smile through it. You just need to tell yourself to be in a better mood when you don't actually be in a better mood because you're telling yourself this, but your brain's telling you that everything's going wrong. Then you begin to feel like a failure.
Yeah, and I'll also throw in, I don't remember the actual name of it, the actual term for it, but I'm going to describe it to the best of my ability.
Okay.
Just because I know I personally struggle with this thing the most. If you are ADHD or you're a neurodivergent person, and I've seen many videos talk about this, one of the biggest issues is kind of that type of rejection. I don't remember the exact wording of it because I'm just going off the whim here. But it pretty much stems from, I could, in theory, wake up and be in a fantastic mood. It's a great mood. The day's beautiful. This is going to be a fantastic day. I believe, like, this is going to be amazing. However, I could go to work, be working perfectly fine, and then if someone that I probably look up to or is my manager or something like that were to come to me and say, hey, you messed up on this, can you fix it? Mm-hmm. Depending on the inflection of the word, depending on the tone, even if the person who told me this didn't mean anything by it, something in my brain will almost like a switch will flip. Yep. And I immediately feel like I'm a failure. I'm a piece of crap. I don't deserve to work there. I'm gonna get fired. Like, this is strike one out of this imaginary scoreboard that doesn't exist. Yes. And so then, because of just how they presented it to me or brought it to my attention, I now feel that the world is crashing down on me and my entire day is ruined. And there's literally nothing that I could do to get myself out of it.
100% completely agree. The only way that I have begun to overcome that same natural response is being on escitalopram, because it stabilizes my mood. So I'm able to kind of process that reaction a little bit better and move past it. However, there are still a lot of times where my brain just naturally holds on to that. And it's very difficult to move past. And then I find myself throughout the entire day trying to make up for it, even if it wasn't my fault.
Yeah, it could be not even something completely related to you.
And that's where we get back to, we had mentioned CPTSD. This is childhood post-traumatic stress disorder. It's just another way of how our mental health can affect our physical health. So we experienced severe trauma when we were children,
and because of this,
our brain didn't develop properly. It doesn't matter that we didn't experience physical trauma. We only experienced mental or verbal or, emotional trauma. There are people out there that experience religious trauma. It doesn't matter if you're never physically abused. If you experience this type of upbringing during your developmental years, your brain doesn't develop the way that it needs to.
What ends up happening is in those types of instances, because we all were animals, like basic wise, we're animals, and so we have these natural instincts within us to survive.
Yes,
they're survival instincts. It's whenever you have that intuition, it's where you have that gut feeling. It's where you could be perfectly fine, but something in your body is telling you something's off, and you should listen to that. It's your body telling you
to protect
yourself. So when you're in a situation where you're constantly getting yelled at because you cry too much, or you get grounded because you ended up making a C in a class without the parent even asking you why you're struggling and trying to help you work through it, it then causes your brain chemistry to develop in such a way to where you're constantly in flight or fight.
You constantly think that you're the problem, that you're the reason that something's wrong. I mean, I think about the fact, again, I was never physically abused. I was never physically threatened. But one way that Daniel will sometimes respond when he is incredibly frustrated, his natural response is to just like bang on the table or bang on the steering wheel to let out that moment of frustration.
Correct. And I'm sure you saw enough of that from your dad and just his reactions.
Yeah.
So which you probably at an early age you're like, oh no, my parents angry. You learned how to make yourself small.
You make yourself so unnoticeable. You don't comment on anything. If for some reason I am the reason that he's upset, whether it be something I said or something that I did, now I know to profusely apologize, even if what I did not warrant that response.
Correct.
I profusely apologize. I hide myself away in my room. So when my husband, does this very natural reaction to something,
most likely shut down.
I completely shut down. I can't breathe. Even if what he's upset about has nothing to do with me, I start apologizing and my brain shuts down to where I've lost video. That's sad. Oh well. So my brain shuts down to where I can't focus on anything, and then any possibility of us being able to discuss what just happened goes out the window.
So for that I can say for me, my reactions is I definitely shut down as well, because there have been times where Matt will just make a comment or he's probably frustrated out of the day and I feel like I've added to it or something like that.
Same.
Or we have a small disagreement. It could be so minor, doesn't even matter. It's a very normal thing. I shut down to the point where I immediately, like you said, become small, and then I start talking a lot more quietly and more meekly.
Yeah.
I immediately just become this like, okay, if I don't raise my voice, because so many times you were told
that you're yelling,
that it wasn't necessarily yelling. It was if I had a certain tone of voice that came off as I had an attitude, I would get the response from my mother of, do I need to smack that attitude off like right out of you?
That is such, it doesn't matter if she never then actually followed through with smacking you.
Oh, she did once.
That's physical abuse for one.
Only once, and it was hard enough that I distinctly remember my glasses flying off my face. That was the only time.
That's physical abuse.
That's the only time. It's fine.
But Well, it's not fine.
Well, I mean,
We don't say that. That's not fine.
No, it's not. But,
But I understand what you're saying. Like, it doesn't matter if overall she did not physically abuse you. The fact that she constantly threatened you with physical violence creates a development in your brain to protect yourself from physical violence. This is how our mental health can change our physical makeup to protect us in the future.
So with that being said, because we've already expressed and established to our listeners at this point, we had a shitty childhood. We lived with abusive parents. Unfortunately, that was just our situation that we were given. I have not experienced so much of the physical aspect of it, but I know for you personally, your mental health has played a huge role in your physical health, to the point, which I apologize to your brother, you and your brother now have been filled with so much stress and mental instability that you've triggered what illness?
It's called stress-induced Bell's palsy. And if you don't know what that is, thank the Lord God Almighty.
So you got diagnosed and you got induced with that when we were in college.
Yes. So I was diagnosed in 2015. So I would have been, I think it happened right before I turned 21. I think I was only 20 years old.
That's so young.
It's very young. It's very rare for somebody of that age to develop it. The level of stress that has to be in your body for that to happen is very high. It mimics a stroke is what it does. So Bell's palsy, there is a nerve that is directly in front of your ear. It's underneath your hairline and above your jawline. And that one nerve is basically where all of your nerves to that specific side of your face connect. So if that nerve gets damaged or, pressed on in any way, you can lose all function of that specific side of your face. So for me, it was my right side. My brother is just now experiencing it for the first time. His is on his left side.
How old is your brother?
He is 31.
Okay.
32. He turned 32 yesterday.
Ooh,
happy birthday, Jeremy.
You old? I can't say much. He's just 2 years older than me.
Yeah. But so he's experienced
God,
it.
your brother's only 2 years older than me?
Yeah. He's lived.
I could have sworn
He's
your
huge.
brother. First off, he's huge. Secondly, for some reason I always thought that he was like 5 to 6 years older than
It's
me.
because he has lived so much in his short life. He did military, he did fire department, he did police department, he's been EMT, he worked for a hospital. He's done a lot.
Jesus.
Okay.
Okay. I'm sorry. It was just the realization of like, holy crap, because I think that's the first time I've really like known how old your brother is.
Yeah.
So good God. So
he also worked for an oil field. The man's done a lot.
Jeez Louise. So he has recently caused this to trigger in his body because the amount of stress that he is under for various reasons.
So basically what happens is when you experience stress can cause inflammation to build up in your body. It can cause joint pain. It can cause I also experience IBS from it, which is irritable bowel syndrome. Basically, I had so much inflammation in my stomach from constantly internalizing all of my stress. It messed up my digestive system. So now I have to be very mindful of what I eat, when I eat, how much I eat. Otherwise, my stomach is just in knots. But so this inflammation, eventually, if it builds up enough, like I said, it can affect your joints, and then it can begin to affect this nerve system that's right around your jawline. And once that happens, it can then press onto that nerve. And if that nerve gets pressed on, all of the nerves on that side of your face deaden. It's completely paralyzed. And basically, you look like you've had a stroke. I was very lucky in the sense that because I was only 20 years old, the likelihood of this being not permanent was a lot higher. My brother still has a chance of it not being permanent. The only way to make sure that that happens is you have to relax.
Oh.
You have to release the stress that is causing the inflammation. And when you're going through a lot of stress that causes that inflammation, the likelihood of you being able to release that stress, yeah.
Your brother doesn't know how to relax.
He doesn't know how to say no. He is the type of person that will give you the shirt off of his back. He is there for everybody, and I love that about him. But at the same time,
he's still an a-hole.
I work
but
for
like he's a loving a-hole. Like, let's be real.
And he'll admit it.
He's a loving a-hole.
But he's there for everybody, and I love that about him. But I also worry for him because I'm like, when this happens, you have to know how to sit down. You have to know how to release.
He needs
that
to know
stress.
how to set boundaries.
Yes.
And probably
that was something that I had to learn.
Part of the reason that he doesn't understand the concept of setting boundaries is I know between you two, he is the oldest. We just established that. And so he
was the protector of me growing up.
He was the protector of you growing up, but he was also the firstborn son.
Yeah.
And there's something about that to be said in the type of family situation that you dealt with. Because your dad was the abuser of the household.
Yeah.
And so he probably projected a lot more on your brother.
100%.
And might have, I'm only speculating here, it could be completely wrong, but there might have been a little bit more physical that was never actually seen.
So
not like purposefully punching your brother in the face, but like more spankings by the belt type deal.
Well, I don't remember that. Like, yeah, he spanked us. I don't remember if there was any more with Jeremy compared to me. I'm sure there was, because Jeremy has often mentioned the fact that, I was favored, so he got in trouble more often.
Yeah. And I think that just comes with being the older sibling, I will add. Not to like take away from your situation, but I'll say with my situation, I am the oldest. I'm the oldest daughter, and my abuser was my mother.
Yeah.
And my brother was the one who was favored.
Well, I think part of that can do with the fact that when it's the same sex, they see a miniature version of themselves.
Yeah,
so
my
they
mother projected hardcore
they project a lot
on
onto that person, and then that makes them want to take out all of the frustrations that they had with themselves at that age on this child that they see as a miniature version of themselves.
Yeah.
It's not healthy and it's not right to the child, but it happens. But I know, like with my brother and my dad, there were times where they almost got physical. Luckily, that didn't happen. But there were times it definitely got close. But yes, so he's now having to learn how to relax. He's currently in Vegas living his best life.
I'm him.
Super jelly. But he's getting out. He's trying to have a little bit of fun and relax.
Good.
But this is something that it runs in my family. My grandmother, my dad's mother, this happened to her when she was in her 40s. During the time where she was in the middle of her divorce from my grandfather. She experienced Bell's palsy, but with her, it was permanent. So to this day, she looks like she's had a stroke. I think it's the right side of her face. Never regained full function. So it's still, it sags a little bit. And unfortunately, with something like this, even for those that do get back full function, like I have, you'll have relapses. I've had times where I completely relapsed. Luckily, it's been years since that happens, but like I have days like today even, I have a lot of pressure right around that joint in my cheekbone to my ear. So there's been times where it was like kind of felt heavy, like I couldn't fully smile or I couldn't fully lift my eyebrow, or it's just painful.
Yeah.
And sometimes that just happens, and that's when I know, okay, I've been stressed out. I need to relax.
I would say physical wise, if we're going to mention mental health impacting you physically, my shoulders.
Oh, yes. Because you hold tension there?
I hold all of my tension in my shoulders. I don't know how to relax or get that undone. I saw my massage person today, and even she was just kind of like, I just want to take your muscles and like shake them. I was like,
please?
I was like, why
Please?
is it bad? She's like, it's like I'm having to work with concrete. That's how bad your shoulders are. I was like,
Oh my gosh. I need her to look at my shoulders.
But it's because I'm constantly stressed and I'm constantly anxiety filled because for me, because of my trauma as a child, I'm a perfectionist. So I need everything to be perfect.
We're a little bit of control freaks.
Immediately once I get my hands on it.
Yeah.
I constantly stress at any point in time at work alone that I could do something and that would be it. I'm fired. Just for no real reason.
Same. It doesn't matter that we both do amazing jobs 99% of the time. That 1% you're like, this is it.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here. Yeah.
I look at, I have that fear of like, oh, I look at my phone too long and I'm not like actively working. Yes. And I have that fear. The reality of it is I've had previous jobs where that was a legit fear. This is a rarity of I have proven myself. I've done things. Both my senior manager and my director are very transparent with us in a lot of different things that they don't have to be, but they are. They trust what we say, what we bring to the table. They ask for our feedback. They ask for me to do stuff and my feedback. But I'm still having to constantly remind myself of, you got this.
Yes.
But that stress sits on my shoulders. So that's like the most physical thing. And then anxiety wise, it's just, your typical can't breathe. And I didn't know that was anxiety related.
So that was interesting because you never really experienced it until you started on the Vyvanse for your ADHD medicine. So suddenly now you're connected more with your body and you're understanding it a little bit more as to what it is that you're feeling, right?
And also hearing my husband, because he has a lot more of the physical symptoms of just anxiety. He's had the stomach issues whenever he was in middle school, high school, and even early 20s. He had severe stomach issues, and they would only trigger whenever we were going to go somewhere. So then he had that fear of like, oh no, like what if we're out and about and I get hit by this? Like I have to find a place to go to.
And he lost a lot of weight because of it.
Yeah, he wouldn't eat. Yeah, for fear.
That's not healthy.
He wouldn't eat for fear. He was a heavy consumer of cannabis at that time because it was the one thing he had found that settled his stomach. Like he didn't have any issues with his stomach. And he started gaining weight because of it.
Yeah.
Eventually he stopped having the stomach issues, but then it has shifted into he constantly feels like he's having a heart attack.
Yes, because when you get anxious, your heart races, can cause chest pains.
I can't tell you how many times we've gone to the ER several times because he felt like he was dying.
Yes.
Like I have taken him to the ER because he felt like he was dying. He had that legit fear of, I'm having a heart attack. I feel like I'm going to die. Had the fear of constantly going to the doctors and them looking at his stomach, his intestines.
And of course they find nothing.
There's nothing wrong. And then he starts having them look at his heart. He's had several heart tests. He's had several lung breathing tests. All of them come back normal.
Yes.
And so that also ends up creating another fear of, what if they're missing something?
What if they're missing something? What if I'm just crazy? What if I'm just wasting all of our money? Then you start to think, I just want them to find something.
Yeah.
How bad is that? How toxic is that?
You want them to find something bad.
Them to find something bad. Because at least then it validates that you are in fact feeling something.
And I had mentioned for several years, I'm like, what if all of this is just anxiety symptoms? And he wouldn't believe me at the time.
Because society tells us that your mental health is your mental health. It's a mindset.
It doesn't have anything to do.
It shouldn't affect anything else in your life.
And so he would have make a lot of comments of like, I don't understand if it's anxiety. Why do I feel like I can't breathe? Why is my heart racing? And I was like, because anxiety is anxiety. You can't. It could literally be you're laying in bed, you've had a fantastic day, you've won the lottery for crying out loud. Like, that's the kind of day. You're going to lay in bed, and then somewhere out of nowhere, you can be like, did I leave the stove on? What if my house catches on fire? I don't need my house catching on fire.
And
let me go up and go check real quick. And then you go check, and you see it's fine. But then you go back down, and you're like, but wait, did I really check? Are we sure? What if
Yeah.
my house burns down? What do I do? Like, that's just anxiety.
And what's crazy is sometimes it's not even stemming from anything.
No.
You don't even have the thought of, what if I left something on? It's literally
It just shows up.
You literally just have this feeling in your stomach of,
That something's
wrong. And you're like, but nothing's wrong. And your brain's like, yes, it is. And you're like, okay, yeah, you're right. Everything's going to just come to an end right now.
And so
there's nothing causing it. It's just there.
So for my husband, he has a lot more of the physical stuff. So when he was describing to me his breathing issues and all of this, I never related it to anxiety until he got put on anxiety meds. All of these symptoms, I was very unsympathetic.
Yes.
About when he would tell me this stuff, because one, I was like, the doctors haven't found anything wrong with you. So like, there's nothing physically wrong with you. It has to be your mental state. Even I was saying it was your mental health. But then the other thing is he would tell me some of his symptoms, and I was also unsympathetic because these were all symptoms of like, I've literally dealt with every single thing you are telling me for years now.
You're like, if I can do it, you can do it. It's fine.
I went through high school. I went through college. I've gone through my entire 20s with these symptoms periodically
that's not
popping
healthy
up.
Either.
And I never ever thought or considered that it was anxiety related until my husband was put on anti-anxiety medication.
And suddenly he's a completely different person and his health is improving immensely.
Yeah. And so because of him being put on anti-anxiety medication, and I'm now on Vyvanse, which slows myself down, which is fucking wild, I've become a lot more aware of my own physical symptoms. So when we went to an ice show, I felt the anxiety. I went, holy crap, is this what anxiety feels? I don't like feeling the physical symptoms of anxiety.
Oh, yeah,
Please
it's
make
terrible.
it stop. Because I was overwhelmed by all of the people, all of the lights, the crowd, everything going on. I was very, very overwhelmed. I was just less bitchy about being overwhelmed, which I guess is okay. But like, I was having to like kind of go off, and like, I was like,
you have to tell yourself how to breathe.
I was having to like tell myself that I'm okay. Like, I was having to constantly be like, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. There's
But for the
nothing
first
wrong.
time, you were also able to find ways to cope with that feeling,
so,
rather than not even realizing that that's why you're getting irritated.
And so it was very interesting to be in FAR, loop around back to FAR. Being around 300 old people who want to meet you because your father-in-law is the pastor. The pastor? Boy, I was so done with that place. I was ready to go. I had so much anxiety because here's the thing. I can deal with crowds. I don't know people.
Yeah.
It's like, it's people I don't know. These are strangers. If I bump into, if I'm a little bit rude or bitchy, it is what it is. I'm just a stranger. I'll never see him again. I just hate being in crowds. Going to deal with a crowd of people that you don't know, but they know you.
Oh, yeah. Welcome to me living where we live. And every single person on the street knows your husband, but doesn't know you. And like, I won't even be with my husband. They'll just walk up. Hey, you're Daniel's wife. Yeah, I've never seen you before in my life. And they're just like wanting to have a conversation with you. And you're like, okay, bye.
Oh, it was awful. It was awful. It was absolutely awful. I had to shake so many hands the one time, which I've said my piece. I'm just like diverging into like a side story before we wrap up. One of the days that we were in FAR, I was sitting in a recliner in their living room. My husband is in the den on a recliner. Okay. Kyle has run off somewhere. Bill and Donna are like in their bedroom doing something. Like, I think we're getting ready to like go to some kind of freaking get together type deal.
Yeah.
At this retirement community. And someone rang the doorbell. The door was shut. And I went, is anyone going to get that? I looked around. I wasn't going to answer. I straight up, I could see them through, like I could see them on the glass door.
Did you make eye contact?
Oh, no, it gets better.
Oh, gosh.
It gets better. So the glass door they had, like you can see like there's someone standing there, but it's a design to where you can't like clearly see. And so the doorbell rang. And I was in the recliner, and then I got out of the recliner, and I stood up, and then I kind of went to the kitchen area and was trying to like not be seen, hoping that maybe Bill or Donna will come out of the room and like get the door. No one did anything when this person started banging on the door, and I went,
I'm going to have to answer the door in a house that you don't even live in.
I had to answer the door.
It's not even your house.
But because the main door was shut, which is a universal code in this retirement community that you can't just freely walk in. Yeah, if your main door, so they have the screen door or glass door, and you have the main door. If your main door is shut, that means you can't freely walk in. But if your main door is open, might as well have an open door policy in that place.
That is so weird.
Yeah. So I had to answer this door. I hated it. I had to open the door and I went, hi. They're like, oh, where's Bill and Donna? And I was like, I think they're in the bedroom. And he's like, oh, I'm such and such. You must be Taylor. And like shook hand. And I'm like,
I have no idea.
And about this time, he is already in the process of walking through the threshold now that I've opened the main door. Shaking hands.
You let him in. You let him in.
And I was just like,
the number one you don't invite them in.
I didn't invite.
You opened the door. That's inviting them in.
Well, by the time I did all of that, Bill and Donna came out of the bedroom, and I immediately,
duck and ran.
Matt was in the den. I ran around. I was like, they're having a conversation, and you could ask Matt. I looked at him. We made eye contact, and I mouthed to him. I was like, I hate this so much. I hate this. I hate this. I hate this. Like, I was just not having it. I was so
Your social meter was just like, please, dear God, help me.
And the thing is that they're old, and so then they have no filter.
That's what makes it better, though.
So they will just say random.
It's so true.
Grandpa called Matt fat.
That's so rude.
But he didn't like say fat. He was just like, oh, it looks like you have you're looking a little bit fluffier than your dad and I, or something along those lines. That's
nice though, because my grandma will just let us say, you've gained some weight. You're getting fat.
Yeah.
You need to start eating better. And I'm like, thanks, Grandma.
I hated it. I hated it. I loved visiting the family. I hated having to interact with so many people because we've been there 3 times. And this was the first time that we had to like interact with the locals. From freaking Minnesota.
Oh my goodness.
Or
gracious.
Kansas City.
You're having a whole moment over there. I'm just letting you breathe through it.
I am.
Breathe through it.
It was traumatic.
Apparently.
That experience was traumatic.
That experience is going to have a physical aspect on your life.
Yeah. Which I told you, look, I was very vocal with Donna because she agrees with me. She also does not like old people either. She just tolerates because she also has a social media that only goes so far.
Why does she live there?
Because they bought their very nice trailer house for like $20,000 and only have to pay rent for the lot that they're on.
Yes, but they have to live in far.
Yeah, and it's super cheap.
Because they have to live in far.
It's very far.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so one additional thing that I wanted to add on this matter was we both have migraines. We both have severe migraines. A lot of that can also be attributed to our mental health. As you mentioned, you're processing. I'll give you a moment.
I was just like, I'm sitting there going, I was like, wait, I just got done with a lot of like stress-induced traveling and stuff.
And you had a migraine, didn't you?
Migraine for like 3 days.
Yeah. You know why? Because you were incredibly tense throughout that entire week. The moment you got home, you relaxed and all that tension went up into your neck and into your head and boom, migraine.
It was awful. It really did. It lasted me. It came on Thursday, went into Friday, and it was bad enough that on Friday, my manager first told me to go home at like 11 o'clock in the morning. And I was like, no, I'm fine. I can push through it. And then by like 1 o'clock, almost 2, my director
you need to go.
Had told me to go home. So I was told by two of my leaders within hours of each other of like, you don't look that great, just go home.
Yeah. So see, that's the thing is like with migraines.
And I slept. I came home at 3:00.
Yeah.
And immediately went to bed. Like I slept until Matt came home. And even then, I barely even socialized with his family that Saturday because I was still trying to recover.
Exactly. See, migraines is just another way that it can start with tension. It can be just the chemical buildup of all of the depressive chemicals, you know, that can also cause migraines. The inflammation that's caused by stress can cause migraines. I experience basically consistent migraines. So it's chronic. That's the word I was looking for. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Chronic migraines. So basically, I take migraine medication. I drink lots of water to make sure I stay hydrated. I keep up with all my medications. I try to be semi-healthy, but no matter what, I'm going to experience migraines. A lot of it, though, is also attributed to the fact that when I get stressed, I tense up all of my muscles. I had a couple of wrecks about 10 years ago.
Which didn't help either.
Did not help. I have a lot of nerve damage in my neck. So basically, if I'm not watching how I sit, that can cause migraines. But for a long time, I didn't know what was causing them, basically. Because I had these wrecks, I had a lot of nerve damage. Nerve damage doesn't show up on anything.
Nope.
There for a while, I also experienced something called lightning headaches, which basically I had nerve damage at the top of my head. So basically, I was hit from behind.
Right.
And my head slammed so hard onto the back of my seat that even to this day, despite the fact that this wreck was 10 years ago, I can touch the spot where I hit my head and it feels tender.
Huh.
It still feels as if like I hit it this morning.
Wow.
Yeah. So I have nerve damage on the top of my head. And they said I experienced some similarities with the neurons in my brain to people that are having seizures. So at first they told me I was epileptic. That's not true. I'm not epileptic.
No, you're not.
They put me on epilepsy medication.
That seems dangerous, but okay.
Yeah, pretty much. Basically what this is like I would be perfectly fine having a normal conversation like we are right now, and then I would drop to the floor because it felt like I got struck by lightning.
Oh.
And I would tell this, I would go to the ERs and I would tell doctors this, and they'd look at me like I was crazy. I told one doctor, I was like, there was just so much pressure all of a sudden. It felt like I got hit in the head with like the butt of a gun. And he, honest to God, he looked at me and he was like, how do you know what that feels like? And I'm like, I don't know. That's how it felt. Like, it felt like I was hit by lightning. He goes, have you ever been hit by lightning? I'm like, I feel like you're not listening to me.
Ooh,
The very first actual migraine that I had, because at this point I've started having Bell's palsy because of the stress that I was facing after these wrecks, between all the ER visits I was having to go to, the doctor visits I was having to go to, because of all of this nerve damage that I had and nothing was showing up. I started having migraines. The very first migraine that I had, I went to the ER here where we live. And the nurse basically saw me as
that you were like on drugs or something.
Yeah, she thought that I was some college student who got drunk at a party and was probably trying things she shouldn't be trying. And she would not service me. She basically asked me the bare minimum that she had to ask me. She would not give me medication. She would not get me CT scans. She left the light on. I had the worst migraine that I've had to this day. And I've had some bad migraines. I had been passing out multiple times. They had to carry me in because I kept passing out. I couldn't stand.
Jeez Louise.
She would not talk to me. She literally looked at me and was like, she's probably just on drugs.
You should still treat a patient.
Exactly. My dad had to go off on her and get me a new nurse to get me any sort of help.
Jeez Louise.
So, I mean, but a lot of that was triggered by the stress and anxiety that I was feeling during this really long extended time that I had, where I didn't know what was wrong with me because I had nerve damage from these wrecks that I was in 2 wrecks back to back, and it caused a lot of nerve damage. Nerve damage doesn't show up on tests. I had one doctor tell me I had epilepsy. I had one doctor tell me I had MS. I had one doctor tell me I had a brain tumor. One doctor tell me it could be like a brain aneurysm. I could have an autoimmune disease. It was ridiculous. I had doctors tell me that I was crazy.
And this just adds more trauma.
Yeah.
Because now it's not only are you having to battle with your fight or flight survival instincts of your childhood trauma, but now you're also having to deal with medical trauma because no one is willing to listen.
I had so much anxiety about even telling people that I wasn't feeling good because no doctor could find something physically wrong with me. So I'm like, well, maybe I'm just making it up. Maybe it's all just in my head. Maybe I am overreacting. And I was just like, okay, so I just won't tell anybody. But then I get anxious because, like Matt says, well, if I don't tell anybody, what if they are missing something?
Yeah.
What if I do have an aneurysm? What if I do have a brain tumor?
What if it is something more and they're just not listening?
I had the most anxiety I've ever had in my entire life during that time. And all it did was create more migraines. There were days where I'd wake up and I wouldn't be able to move because my back had locked up from the inflammation in my back. It was horrendous.
And these are just some of the things that we personally have experienced physical health wise that we have recently learned over the years that our mental health has heavily influenced what we physically feel.
It's insane to think
it's
that
wild,
all of this can be attributed to how your brain is reacting to its mental state and trying to protect you.
It's why your mental health is just as important as your physical health, because you can be physically fit all day long, but if your mental health is in the trash,
then everything else can fall apart.
It throws everything off. It's kind of like having your chakras balanced and all of that fancy mumbo jumbo. I don't know about that. I can't tell you.
You need to be connected with your body physically, mentally, spiritually. If one of those is off, it can affect everything else.
Our bodies are a very delicate ecosystem.
Yes.
That we've ignored the important parts for far too long.
We are to treat our body as a temple with respect and with love. And if you treat it in any way or aspect that could be negative, it can affect all aspects of you. If you tell yourself mentally that you don't look good in certain outfits, that can then begin to affect how you eat, which can then affect your physical health.
Which then would then develop into an eating disorder.
Exactly.
And eating disorders can happen in many different forms.
So many different ways.
I feel like that alone is going to be an episode that we should do in the future.
Yeah.
You know, mental health is such a weird thing.
It's crazy how it can affect so many different aspects of our life.
It really can. Like it is mind-blowing of how much it affects us. And the thing is we are only recently taking it seriously, because I remember being as a kid, my great-grandparents refusing to put my aunt in a home or an asylum essentially for the mentally handicapped, because she was, I don't know what happened, but I know that she was mentally handicapped because she had the mindset of a 7-year-old.
Interesting.
But they never put her anything because, I mean, that was only 50, 60, 70, 80 years ago, when those were like terrible.
Oh yeah, they were awful.
Anyone could be placed in them. There was no treatment fully being done.
Nobody was watching them, so they didn't know how the doctors were actually working with them.
There was so much abuse and made things worse.
And unfortunately, even to this day, there's still a lot of abuse.
It does still happen, but we've only recently, probably within the last 20 years, taken mental health so seriously. Yes. And I could be wrong, but I feel like the millennial generation has really helped 100%. That. And then we have the younger generations that is just continuously encouraging that kind of
remember, so one thing that I like to do, I don't get to do it as often as I'd like, but I'd like, at least once a year, take a weekend. It's a mom weekend. Mm-hmm. I go to a hotel or something, just me, for 2 days to connect with myself, to just be quiet, to just be alone. My husband tried that once, when he had been going through quite a lot with work and with just stress overall.
Yeah.
And he had mentioned that to his dad, and he's like, see, I don't get that about your generation where you need this self-care time to reflect on yourself. He's like, I'm glad you got to do that, but I just don't get it. Like,
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you've also worked your behind off for 40, 50 years in a job that you hate just so that way you can provide all this extra stuff for your family. Like, we're grateful for it. But also,
have you ever stopped and considered your own needs?
Yeah. Have you ever stopped to think about how you could just connect with yourself? I mean, pastors go on sabbaticals all the time. Take that time to just reconnect with yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. It's not a problem. It doesn't make you girly. It doesn't make you weak or vulnerable. It just gives you time to breathe.
And everyone deserves that.
Everyone deserves
mental
that.
break. Well, we hope you enjoyed this episode. We wanted to do this episode specifically to share how mental health has affected our physical health over the years, because we know that not everyone understands that this is something that happens to people. So many out there struggle in silence with their physical symptoms because mental health doesn't show on an x-ray or blood test. Please remember that you're not alone and that there is help out there. Never give up on yourself. When you have a bad doctor, move on to the next. Someone will listen. You just need to burn through a few idiots first.
Amen. And if any of our listeners would like to share their personal mental to physical health battles, please feel free to share those with us at theunstableBrew@gmail.com. We do promise to read all emails that come into us and share any information that may fit into a future episode. And also, if you would like to share a story but remain anonymous, simply let us know and we will be sure to honor your request.
And if you would like to just share with us a story simply to share but not have it shared on a future episode, please feel free to do that as well. Simply let us know that the email is for venting purposes only and to not be shared on the show. We will respect your request because boundaries matter, people.
I put that on one of our posts this morning. I was like, just like Taylor says, boundaries matter.
Yeah, that's going to be my catchphase.
We need that on a t-shirt. Boundaries matter.
What's your cousin's name?
Marissa.
Marissa, make that merch. Because I know she's going to hear this.
If you would like to follow us on social media, we are available on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook under The Unstable Brew. We will often be posting promo videos and extra fun content on these platforms.
And remember, we are available for your listening pleasure or displeasure on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Please like, share, download to your heart's content, and also comment the shit out of those, please.
Yes, we want to hear from you.
Please count that.
We will be back next time with more unstable content.
Bye.